Hey y'all, so today I'm going to talk about my favorite place that I have visited and why it means so much to me, and I'm going to talk about all of my favorite experiences there. And the place that I chose to talk about today is Edinburgh, Scotland. And the reason that it is so important to me is because of the time that I spent there. It's where my ancestors are from, and it has a lot of importance to me in my life. So I traveled to Scotland about 2 years ago during the summer, and I loved the rolling green hills and just the really awesome architecture and all the amazing different people that live there and the different cultures that I got to experience just by being in a completely different country. So the culture of Edinburgh is very different from the culture here in the US, and that's because it dates back so much further, and it has a lot of cool foods, and there's castles there. Like, how cool is that? We don't have castles here. So there's a lot of really big cliffs and a lot of cool stone architecture, and I really loved it. So when I first arrived in Scotland, I saw a man in a plaid suit playing the bagpipes, and this was kind of stereotypical Scotland. So I was like really shocked at first, and I wasn't expecting it, but I honestly thought it was really cool, and I really liked the music that he was playing. So we went to a pub, and we got to have this really cool like bubbly fizz drink, and it was apple cider, and we tried haggis, porridge, and oatcakes, and the haggis was kind of gross. It was like a raw meat, and I didn't really like that, but everything else was really cool. And the town that we were in, which was Edinburgh, it had the coolest little it was really cool. It had, it really looked like a scene out of Harry Potter. There was gargoyles, stone buildings, and really small streets with a lot of cars and people, and it was just really cool. So the first or second day we went to go tour Stirling Castle, and something that's really neat about Stirling Castle is my ancestors once lived there a few years ago, and Stirling Castle was owned by a man with the last name Stirling because he took it from my ancestor Robert Stewart. And according to the Sieges of Stirling Castle article at Carruthers, Finlay McWall states that there have been at least 8 sieges of Stirling Castle, a strategically important fortification in Stirling, Scotland. So this shows that Stirling Castle, or as I would rather call it, Stewart Castle, a lot of people wanted it because it was very valuable, and that's because it was high up and hard to get to if other invaders tried to take it. So I was going to talk more about my ancestors now, and the Stewart clan also used to rule Scotland for a long period of time. But according to a Stirling Castle article at the Scotland Information Guide, the Stewart Society states that the Clan Stewart is the clan of the Royal Stuarts who ruled Scotland from 1371 to 1603. And this is a really long time ago, so it's cool to really get to hear about a time that's so different than the one that we live in now. Another thing that I learned is whenever I was in Scotland, I got to hear about my family, and that we even had our own Scottish crest and a color of plaid. I even bought a really cool scarf, and it has our plaid color, and I still have it today, so that's pretty neat. And I loved learning about like our heritage and just really getting to see where my ancestors walked the streets whenever they were back there. And Scotland means a lot to me because I feel it is important to see where you come from and how you got where you are now. So another thing is, according to why it is important to know where you come from, on the LinkedIn website, Patricio Spears states that no matter what type of life you had in the past, knowing and understanding the circumstances of your own life will help you make decisions that could change your life forever. So I agree with this because your history is what makes you who you are today, and it is so important to see like how your ancestors lived back in the day and how you can learn from them and really take their past and kind of like lead your life into what it is in the future. So the time that I spent in Scotland with my ancestors means so much to me, because it's just really neat to even walk the streets that they walked on and just kind of even eat what they ate, because I don't know about the haggis, but everything else was really good and I would love to eat it, and it really was really good. So I traveled pretty far, and this experience was so neat and I wouldn't trade it for the world. So I really encourage you, if you haven't gone where you're originally from, it's really a neat experience to be able to go back in time almost and see how you could have lived back in the day. So I hope you enjoyed.